entered the boiler room.
It's another effing Monday here on UCY.TV. You are listening to live radio for the next 60 minutes. It is the Boiler Room, and I am your host, Jim Funke, and my co-host over there on the East Coast is Mr. Lance Musser. Come in, Lance Musser.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Are you wearing green?
You know, I have a tie that is black with green shamrocks all over it that I can only wear one day a year. And I forgot to wear my damn tie today.
Oh, damn. Did you get pinched?
I was wearing a little bit of other green, but I forgot that tie. And that was kind of pissed me off.
Gosh darn it. St. Patty's Day.
Mm-hmm.
All the drunks rolling around in the streets over the weekend. Saw quite a few. Oh, go ahead.
I wonder if they were able to freeze that river or that river that they turned green. I wonder if it was frozen.
Up in Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw quite a few funny things on Facebook. There was quite a few funny things posted. Sean Garriston, one of my buddies on Facebook, lives up in Chicago, and he posted quite a couple of funny videos, and that looks like they had a pretty good time doing their what do they call it, the pub crawl?
Yep.
And they crawl from pub to pub, going to, I guess you get one drink at each one or two drinks at each one, or.
It's actually a very popular fundraiser now because we have them here. Yeah, we have them here year round, one every other month that I can think of. And it's all for different charities, and you get one ticket at every bar, and you got to walk around to them. And
well, it's nice to know the Virginia's full alcoholics. That's good.
Hey, man, our ABC store is even open on Sunday. So.
Oh, wow.
And we're deep in the Bible Belt. And I remember when you couldn't buy beer on Sunday, but now you can buy liquor.
Oh, yeah, there's still just west of Rantoul, there's a town called Fisher, Illinois. Gee, I just about lost it there for a minute. And it's still a dry town.
Georgia has plenty of them also.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I moved down to Atlanta and I was living in, I think, Hunterstown, and they were a dry county. You had to go 5 minutes to get liquor.
Yeah.
Stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
Hey, it makes money for the people on the edge of county. You know, those county line liquor stores do a bang up job.
Mm-hmm.
So, no money for their county, but plenty of money for the next door.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's roll off into this Smoke'em's Market Minute. Cause I know that this dollar that we all carry around in our wallets is gonna get beat the hell up this week. I would just about bet on it.
You know, and I was thinking about that earlier. I hope it doesn't, because I'd like to see Manarino lose a little bit of his puts that he, I follow him and we follow him here and everything else. But on this case, it sure would be nice to see him wrong. I don't think any of us are looking forward to
giving over some of our money to him.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what's going to
Some
happen.
of your 401k money, folks.
Yeah, speaking of which, I mean, if you have 401k, it was up 100 something points today for the Dow. So, worked out well for you there. If you were buying a house today, it cost you a little bit more. So that's the only two differences in there. With Crimea coming in, I'm going to just jump into the sanction part real quick. On the news this morning, I saw the big blurb, the headlines, Obama put sanctions on Russia.
Yeah.
So
it was like 12 people.
11 or 12. Yeah. So it was, the headlines grab you. So then you read on the story. But if you didn't read any past that, you went around talking today or about anything.
Yeah, we put sanctions on them.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's funny because out of the 12 people that they sanctioned, they were individuals. They didn't sanction a nation. They didn't sanction a region. They sanctioned 12 individual people. And all they said was, you can't travel to the United States, like they'd be coming to the United States, and you can't get any money out of EU or American controlled banks. Well, all of them said, we're not dumb enough to keep our money in your banks. So all of our money is here in Russia. So, blah, 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 blah,
Neener.
Basically, it was a neener thing. So, again, posturing.
Barry pounding his.
Yeah, chest pounding going on. So that's, what do you expect? Wednesday.
Pounding his man boobs. I wouldn't call that a chest.
Yeah, I won't go into the other man and the man boobs on that.
Save that for another show.
We'll save that for another show.
Oh boy.
But, Wednesday, if nothing happens tomorrow worldwide, in Crimea, look for Wednesday for the stock market to really get a big rally. And that's because the feds are coming out. They're making a stock friendly statement Wednesday. That's kind of what they're calling it. Just because we know that whenever the Fed talks, all they're going to be doing is talking about, we're keeping the same charade going that we've had going before. We're going to keep rates low. It just keeps going on and on. Per predecessor.
And don't forget to pay your taxes.
Yeah, well, then pay your taxes and get your Obamacare. Because the Fed's current pledge to hold rates steady until well past the point when unemployment rates fall below 6.5%. But the unemployment rate has steadily dropped over the past year before ticking slightly up to 6.7 in February. So a little bit of manipulation, but Yellen has definitely signaled that she's comfortable, with the way that the market's going right now. So.
Well, from what you were, excuse me, hang on. From what you were talking about a couple weeks ago, Yellen's only going to be in the chair for a couple months, and she's going to get replaced.
Yeah, because we read that story a couple months ago that they had already picked her replacement, whenever that may be. So, if you're going to do that, you've kind of got to blame, that's got to be your fall person for when whatever happens. And then we can say, oh, we're kicking her ass out.
Okay, Janet, and under the bus.
You're out.
Under the bus.
Out of here. Student loans, another thing that's really, really, really scary right now is just the amount of student loans that us as a nation, the Treasury has to borrow, quote unquote, borrow that money from the Department of Education so they can give out student loans. The more I just look into these student loans and what a racket. I mean, what a racket. It is, what is it? 7% of the debt is owned by the Treasury is just because of student loans. Pretty big saying, when you have that much in student loans and all the people out here that are willing to take jobs that they didn't go to school for.
Yeah, like flipping burgers.
Yeah.
Bagging groceries.
Well, everybody's heard about that 29-year-old guy, and I know you've seen him. He buys lobster and stuff with his debit EBT card because lobster and sushi. You've seen that?
Yep.
So they did a follow-up story up on him here in the past couple days, and they asked him, I mean, he was offered a job in North Dakota driving a truck for $80,000 a year.
And he turned it down.
And he turned it down because his main job in life is to make sure the sun's up and the girls are out. And he wanted to say thank you to the United States of America for the way things are set up. And that's just appalling because he can get away with it.
You're jealous.
You know, I don't know if you can quit your job and go collect unemployment, or do you have to get laid off? I mean, I don't know. I've never collected it. So I don't know.
I collected it once, but it was because I was destitute.
Right when I got out of the military, I know I applied for it at one time, and they said, well, you have to prove that you applied for 2 jobs, a week or whatever it is.
Right.
I'm like,
bring in this little paper.
Yeah. I mean, I said, like, what the hell? I'm going to get this first, second, or third job I apply for. Why? I'm going to have a job before my first check comes in.
Right.
And sure enough, I did. I mean, I had a job before my first check came in. So, but back then it was only $162 a week too. That was back in 1992. So wasn't a whole lot. And
that was back when the unemployment rate wasn't 37%.
Yeah, it might have been in the low double digits back then. I'm sure we've never had a true 6.5% unemployment rate that wasn't skewed some way.
No, not since the early 1800s.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Last story for the market minute here. Isn't so much the market, but it's got to do with retail. Shopping is not every American's favorite Saturday afternoon activity. Because, long lines, trip to the malls. It's kind of frustrating to do all that. Mm. So Big Man USA is here to save the day.
Big Man?
Now, Bigman's USA.com is here to save the day they are thrilled to announce the addition of 5XL and 6XL to its standard inventory.
Outstanding for all you McDonald's eaters. You can now buy a mobile tent to cover your big ass.
Eddie Bauer, Sport Tech, Russell Outdoors, Port Authority, and Nike all have T-shirts, shorts, hoodies, outerwear in a wide variety of colors and textures, and free shipping for $75 or more. But it's their standard. They carry everything up to 6L now.
Does it come with a belt extension?
Didn't see that one. Didn't see that, but they usually would have an extra belt, I'm sure, anyway. So,
yeah, that's my sister. See, that's how much my family pays attention to me. She doesn't even know when my fucking show's on the air, so she has to call and interrupt it with a phone call.
Yeah, right. I thought that was my my video here in the background. I closed it out real quick.
No, that's my sister. I guarantee you, I've been on this radio for over a year.
Over a year.
And I'll bet you she hasn't listened to 10 minutes of my fucking shows. Anyway,
I'll go down that hole just for a second because, I'm married to the Queen of Sheeple. And just the more and more people that I talk to, I think I'm one idiot away from bashing somebody upside the head for stupid stuff that comes out of their mouth.
I just turned it off now. I'm completely through with it. And I think I said this to everybody a couple of weeks ago. I'm done trying to wake people up. I'm just speaking to the people that listen. If you're too stupid now to listen, if you're too thick to realize what's going on in the world around you, if you're too distracted by your television, all your shit you're doing every day that you think's important, if you're that distracted that you can't pay attention to what's going on the planet, then good luck to you. Yep. I'll see you on the other side whenever you decide to recycle.
Yep. That's what I always say. I say, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Okay, so you're wrapped up there?
I am wrapped up.
All right, we're going to jump over here and let Scott have his 2 minutes and 8 seconds. And I listened to Manarino a little bit earlier today. Did you?
Nope.
Nope. Well, we'll toss him in there for a minute because it's just the hour show, and I really only got one more thing, one more nail after this that I want to pound on.
Good.
And so we might go ahead and throw him in there for a minute. But anywho, here's Scott.
Hello, this is Scott in this Hype Report. Today's report is sponsored by the free book Ramblings of a Madman. Here are the quotes for various items. First, China bankruptcies. Even though China's GDP grew 7.7% in 2013, investors are being warned to prepare for a wave of bankruptcies as China may face a decade of stagnation or even worse, contraction. The decision to let some companies go bust was a sign that authorities did not want to repeat Japan's boom and bust experience. Next, making waves. According to John Ing, the Chinese continue to be huge buyers of gold, but the interesting thing is that the Chinese have become much more sophisticated in the gold market. So, while they are the world's largest annual gold producer at 440 tons, they are consuming about 1,100 tons of gold during the same time. Next, Graham offers help. In an open mic moment, Lindsey Graham offered John F. and Kerry help in regards to the Ukraine against Bonnier. Hopefully this betrayal of his own party seals this bastard's fate in the primaries in his state. Next, native workforce. The number of native-born working-age Americans who aren't working has shot up by almost 9 million since 2007. By late 2012, roughly 50 million native-born working-age Americans weren't working, up from 40 million in 2000. But the government data shows that 16.7 million native-born Americans wanted but did not have full-time work in 2013. Now, gee, who could be manipulating the numbers, folks? In addition, could this manipulation be a push for immigration reform? Next, CIA in Benghazi. There were CIA personnel on the ground when the attack on the Benghazi consulate took place. After a major incident like that, one would believe that the CIA Inspector General would conduct an investigation into what happened. Well, think again because it never happened. Probably because the U.S. war in Libya was likely a CIA operation in the first place. Next, breaking pledges. Obama promised in 2007 that he would push for the labeling of GMOs in food. Well, with a letter, 200 naive organizations are asking him to honor that pledge. Hell, why doesn't he just dream up an executive order to do it, since laws or promises mean nothing to Obama? Finally, please prepare now for the escalating economic and social unrest. Good day.
So in 2007, there were 40 million native-born people, native-born men in this country without a job. And between 2007 and 2010, it went up to 50 million. But then in 2013, magically, it went down to 13.6 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's effing incredible. Congratulations, United States government. You guys are some magicians.
They are magicians for sure.
You thick skull. Never mind.
I always have a problem with, when people talk about immigration and immigrants and coming here and, you don't like it, go home, everything else. I'm like, do you not realize we stole this country from people that were over
unless you're
here?
A Dakota,
yeah,
or some kind of a Native American. Grab a boat.
It's always been a sticking point with me is when people throw that stuff out over social media everywhere about,
like
immigrants and everything else. And I'm like, and
you don't know your history, folks. That's why I tout it every day that I'm on this radio. Know your history or you're going to repeat it.
I had that conversation today too with Dave, my buddy Dave.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you got to keep on history because if not, you're doomed to repeat it. And we may be doomed to repeat it, but at least I want to see it coming this time. Yeah, exactly. I want to see it coming this time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Prepare yourselves. I mean, because you're not going to do anything to change it. I don't think we can do anything to change it anymore.
No,
they've got
can't
these.
do that mass awakening like that.
No. It's going to take bright flashes in the sky to wake that number of people up. And it's too late. It's already too late. It's too late. It's too late. So hope for the best. Prepare for the worst.
Exactly. Always hope for the best.
hope I see you soon.
Yeah. On this side.
Somewhere. Anyway.
Exactly.
And it's not hot.
Yeah, that would be a pisser right there, man. If I find out,
I don't think we're going to hell. I don't think any of us are going to hell because I think we're already there.
There's a lot of
just not.
There's a lot of credence to that.
Yeah, just the things that are happening on the planet are hellish.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's talk about the dead cat bounce. Pretty unique title.
That it is.
Hi everybody, it's me, Gregory Manarino. How are you today? It is Monday, March 17th, 2014. Alright people, let me start off with this. Today is a very sad day for the United States of America once again. And we're going to talk about that. Some very, very interesting things are unfolding.
I just looked up dead cat.
Let's start off with this. As I am doing this video blog, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up about 164 points, almost a full percentage point. It had been up about 205 points. So what's driving this market?
Yeah, up and down a lot
Let's
today.
ponder that and understand why this is a very sad day for the United States yet again.
Because it was a dead
Okay,
cat.
so we got some economic news today. Manufacturing and industrial output did rise. That's nice. We also found out that the home builders index did come in below estimates, so that's not good. So we're getting this mixed economic picture, but yet the market is up. Why? Let's talk about it again. It plays right into why. This is just a very sad day yet again for the United States of America here. This move in the market, number one, is nothing more than a dead cat bounce. And there's going to be a huge price to pay because of our president. Once again, you have to understand this. So what happened this weekend? Crimea voted to, pull out of the Ukraine here. And all we've been hearing is rhetoric out of the mouths of our president, our policymakers, John Kerry, some members of the European Union about the high cost that's going to have to be paid if this vote goes through and Russia does do this. Well, here's the high price.
High cost.
President Obama, and this is why this is such a sad day for America, people. President Obama has announced sanctions against not Russia, but members of Vladimir Putin's inner circle. Not Putin
and
himself.
Some Ukrainians.
Understand that. This is incredible. So all of this rhetoric, all of the threats, all of the red lines, once again, mean nothing. Okay? Barack Obama, our president, has sanctioned members of Vladimir Putin's inner circle and some members of the Ukraine, to holding them responsible for this, but not Vladimir Putin. It's embarrassing. It's a very embarrassing day to the United States of America because it shows yet again the weakness of our president. He has done nothing. Absolute zero. So that's why the market is rallying today to a certain degree, because there has been no meaningful action, no sanctions against Russia, no way to try to hurt them economically. Well, that's what we've been hearing about. This cannot happen, no matter what they do. Understand, China is ready to buy anything that Russia pulls out of the ground with regard to energy. So you cannot hurt them. Vladimir Putin is well aware of these facts, 100%. And because of the weak action, yet again, of our president, there's going to be a huge price to pay. This is going to empower Vladimir Putin at this point here to take more of the Ukraine. That's what he's going to do. And the world is watching. China is watching as well. Let's go over a couple of other reasons why this market rallied today, or is in this little rally mode. So number one, we have the weakness of our president, which has not really done anything to sanction Russia, despite the rhetoric and the red lines and the promises of cost. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to be an American today. Okay. We got short covering today that boosted up this market. A lot of investors and traders that got shook up. Me, I'm not shook up at all. I am still short this market. I will not change my stance, despite what some of the technicals might be telling us. If you're an analyst like I am, you know there's been some strength here in the technicals, but the fundamentals underneath this greatly outweigh what any of the technicals are telling us right now. That's the truth. So that's what we
remember. He was
market.
trained
We
as
also
an analyst.
That China
he wasn't trained as a trader. He was trained as a market
on
analyst.
Currency. What is being set up here, people? Can't you see the writing on the wall? I really hope you can here. It's incredible. And it plays into everything that we've been talking about. And I've been going over for years now. The U.S. dollar being a dying currency, the United States as a whole, under this administration, continuing to lose its status on the world stage. What happened today
was embarrassing.
Regardless of what's going on in the market, is an embarrassment, really, to us all as American citizens. Again, here, our president is so weak, and the world knows it. Again. He's done nothing. He's going to sanction people here, do nothing to hurt the economy of Russia, which he said he was going to do. And it's really funny, people, and sad at the same time. Understand? But again, there will be a price to pay for this, without any doubt. Obama knows he is powerless to stop Vladimir Putin here. Vladimir Putin is well aware and is going to exploit this to the nth degree and beyond. So all this talk about how we're going to hurt their economy cannot happen. All it's going to do is backfire on the United States. Again, and Obama knows this. If he would have put out any real sanctions, the market would be in free fall right now.
It would.
Yep,
There's no doubt about
definitely.
it. So we are getting the opposite effect, but this will not last. This is going to, once again, empower Russia, empower Vladimir Putin, who is going to increase his grip on the Ukraine, on the world stage. This is not good for America. This is not good for the United States stock market, by any means. And we're going to watch this play out, people. There's no doubt about it. Again, a very sad day for the United States. Our leadership here, our president, is a joke and the laughing stock of the world. And unfortunately, because you and I are American citizens,
I disagree with him somewhat.
Here.
What's that?
I disagree with him somewhat.
We can go ahead and fade him to black because I think he's just going to repeat himself for about the next minute and a half.
Right, that's what he does.
Why do you disagree with that?
And there's Republicans on the Republican radio saying the same thing. Weak, everything else. How is there a win? I mean, how is there a win situation for us out of this? For one, why in the hell?
It's none of our goddamn business what's going on in Ukraine.
How do we have the audacity to sit here and tell them they can't do something that we've done 5 or 6 times over the last 15 years? What the hell is wrong with us? How blind can the people be for us to tell him he can't do something that we've done and that we still do whenever we want? Get out. Leave everybody alone. If we weren't such dicks sometimes, we probably wouldn't have as many enemies.
If the United States doesn't have their fingers in it, they're not happy. I'm speaking as a disgruntled citizen, people. If the United States military and the United States administration and the corporate Americans don't have their fingers in what's going on around the planet, then they're not happy people. There's gas fields over there in Ukraine. So we need to go over there. Yeah, we need to go over there and bomb some freedom into them. Or at least stick our nose where it doesn't belong and piss some people off. That's what our job is, right? If we're the world cop, cops beat the shit out of innocent people all the time now. So there you go. Correct? Holy crap. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 deer rolling up into the backyard right now, getting ready to chew on my corn that I've done.
Oh, hell yeah.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful.
That's awesome.
See, this is my little oasis, man. This is my little paradise here.
Exactly.
So I can take a deep breath and go, wow, look at the pretty.
Yep.
Even though all this crap's going on all over the planet.
Oh, man. I mean, if I were you, I'd tell the world to kiss my hairy black ass and would shut off the internet, phone, everything else, and
that's coming.
Not be aware of what's going on.
that day's coming. I think it's approaching pretty fast, actually. I'll be really surprised if I'm here doing this in a year.
Yeah.
In another year.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know.
Never know.
Because I'll really be surprised if this whole thing's fucking together in another year. You know?
If we even have free internet, if you will. But
couple more minutes on the Ukraine thing, and then we'll step down the next hole.
Yeah, because I was going to say it's actually a perfect segue because you were talking about the government not being happy unless their hands are in it. Mm-hmm. That's kind of actually the perfect segue into your topic.
Yeah, I got a couple more things I do want to say about Ukraine, though.
Sure.
About what's coming, I think. You know, just from listening to Manarino and reading a couple of things that I read today and listening to the Russians that actually got the sanctions put on them going.
Yeah. What kind of a joke is this?
Yeah. You know, we don't have any of our money over there, so whatever. Yeah. You know, you want to lock our embassy?
And if they did have money over there, they just wait until the sanctions.
Right. Exactly. You know, Putin's their bud. Putin's got 70 bills.
Exactly.
They're covered. They're
covered.
So, but I think the next thing that we're going to see is Putin is going to start, telling some very influential Americans that reside in Russia to go ahead and go home. I see that coming. I see that coming.
Like
some government officials, some CIA agents that they know about that are residing in Russia that, you know, that they have been letting slide for a while. They're going to tell them, get on a plane.
If you think, what makes anyone think for a second that a community organizer could strong arm an ex-KGB agent into anything?
This is not going to happen. It's not.
I mean,
really? Puppet or no puppet? I don't care what kind of back Barry's got. He doesn't even know the rules of the game that he's trying to play.
No, he's trying to rewrite the rules, actually.
Yeah, right. Those things have been in place forever.
Mm.
Rules of war. There's rules of war.
Yeah, he can't rewrite them or else he'll end up like JFK.
Right. He can't step off script.
Mm. But I feel bad for these people because, like I said on Saturday night, and I said to you before, we hear RT side, and that's coming strictly pro-Russian. We're hearing our side, which is strictly
pro-American.
I mean, you know, so
pro-empire.
You know, how are we pro-empire? So how are we getting the true word of, you know, American media says that there was coercion going on with the vote in Crimea. Russia says that they were all partying in the streets. Who are you going to believe? Neither one of them at this point.
Right. And it's going to get worse. It's not, this Ukraine thing is not going to calm down. It's not going to go away. So there will be another distraction after this Malaysia airline.
Mm. I got that one figured out.
I think I do too. And I'm going to read this.
Figured out.
I'm going to read this article to everybody that I found yesterday. And I'm going to tell you who it's by after I read it. Because I want you to hear how credible it sounds before you know who wrote it. The only reason that I'm saying that, I'll tell you later. A new report circulating the Kremlin today, prepared by the main intelligence directorate of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, which is known as the GRU in Russia, states that the Aerospace Defense Forces, the VKO, experts remain puzzled as to why the United States Navy captured, then diverted a Malaysian Airlines civilian aircraft from its intended flight path to their vast and highly secretive Indian Ocean base located in Diego Garcia. According to this report, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, also marked as China Southern Airlines Flight 748 through a code share program, was a scheduled passenger flight from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia to Beijing, China, when on 8 March, this Boeing 777-200ER aircraft disappeared in flight with 227 passengers on board from 15 different countries, most of whom were Chinese, and 12 crew members. Interesting to note, the report says, was that Flight 370 was already under GRU surveillance after it received a highly suspicious cargo load that had been traced to the Indian Ocean nation Republic of the Seychelles, and where it had been previously aboard the U.S. flag container ship MV Maersk, Alabama. When first aroused, GRU suspicions regarding the MV Maersk, Alabama, this report continues, was that within 24 hours of offloading its highly suspicious cargo load bound for Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, the 2 highly trained U.S. Navy SEALs assigned to protect it, Mark Daniel Kennedy, 43, and Jeffrey Keith Reynolds, 44, were found dead under suspicious circumstances on board.
And we read that story a couple weeks ago.
Yes, we did. Both Kennedy and Reynolds, this report says, were employees of the Virginia Beach-based maritime security firm Trident Group, which was funded by U.S. Navy Special Operations personnel and senior U.S. Navy surface warfare officers, and has long been known by the GRU to protect vital transfers of both atomic and biological material throughout the world. Upon GRU assets confirming that this highly suspicious cargo was aboard Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 on 8 March, this report notes Moscow notified China's Ministry of State Security of their concerns and received assurances that all measures would be taken to ascertain what was being kept so hidden when this aircraft entered into their airspace. Excuse me for just 1 second. However, this report says, as yet for still unknown reasons, the MSS was preparing to divert Flight 370 from its scheduled destination of Beijing to Haikou Milan International Airport, located on Hainan Province, Hainan Island. Prior to entering the People's Liberation Army Protected Zone, the PLA, that's South China, of the South China Sea, known as Spratly Islands, this report continues that Flight 370 significantly deviated from its original flight course and was tracked by VKO satellites and radar, flying into the Indian Ocean region and completing its nearly 3,447-kilometer flight to Diego Garcia. Critical to note about Flight 370's flight deviation, GRU experts in this report say that it occurred during the same time period that all of the Spratly Island mobile phone communications operated by China Mobile were being jammed. China Mobile, it should be noted, extended phone coverage to the Spratly Islands in 2011 so that PLA soldiers stationed on the island, fishermen, and merchant vessels within the area would be able to use mobile services and can also provide assistance during storm and sea rescues. As to how the U.S. Navy was able to divert 370 to its Diego Garcia base, this report says appears to have been accomplished remotely, as the Boeing 777-200ER aircraft is equipped with a fly-by-wire system that replaces the conventional manual flight controls of an aircraft with an electronic interface, allowing it to be controlled like any drone type of aircraft. However, this report notes, though this aircraft can be controlled remotely, the same cannot be said of its communication systems, which can only be shut down manually. And in the case of Flight 370, its data reporting system was shut down at 1:07 a.m., followed by its transponder, which transmits location and altitude, which was shut down at 1:21 a.m., 14 minutes later. What remains perplexing about this incident, GRU analysts in this report say, are why the American mainstream media outlets have yet to demand from the Obama regime, Lance, the radar plots and satellite images of the Indian Ocean and South China Sea regions as the U.S. military covers this entire area from Diego Garcia like no other in the world due to its vital shipping and air lanes. I think you've been saying that since this thing disappeared.
Since day one.
Most sadly, this report concludes the U.S. is actually able to conceal the reasons for this disappearance of Flight 370, as they have already done so for the events of 11 September, when then Bush regime disappeared American Airlines Flight 77 and its 64 passengers and crew after falsely claiming it hit the Pentagon, but which was confirmed by CNN News. So, there's the report. The plausibility of this report is incredibly accurate. The other things that I have dug up over the last few days corroborate 90% of what's in this report. Now, granted, this is someone's assertion of what they have found. There's nothing linked to this article. There's no proof, quote unquote, to this article. But it's very, very plausible. And it's what I've been saying for days and days.
So have I.
This plane is on the ground in Diego Garcia. I have no idea what's happened to the people on board, but I can guarantee you that the Chinese nationals that were on that plane are going to be pawns in a future game.
I got a question.
Hang on one second.
Okay.
This article that I am getting ready to drop in chat was penned by Sorcha Fayal, which is a pen name for, I can't think of what his name is now. I could Google it real quick, but I'm not going to. Last name is Brown. Daniel Brown, I think, is what he's calling himself, or Doug Brown or something. I don't know. It begins with a D. Anyway, this guy has been trolled out as a shill in the past. And yes, he's had some very wild articles that he's written in the past. This one, however, I think is pretty close to being about as accurate as we're ever going to find until we find out the truth about what happened to this plane. Because I promise you this, it did not crash, and it is not on the bottom of the ocean. This plane touched down, wheels down, and is in one piece. Lance?
I firmly believe it. I've been saying it from the get-go. There's not 1 inch of this planet that's not surveilled by the U.S. government and many other nations, I'm sure, at this point, with all the spy satellites up there. So, one, if they weren't involved in it, then why didn't they come out and say, hey, we followed our satellite photos and here's where it's at?
Right.
So let's go out there and search in an area to throw people off because, hey, if we don't go out there searching, they might think that we know where it's at. And my second, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, finish.
Second point I brought up to somebody earlier was when they said, well, what happened to the 220 people on there? I said, well, did they exist? I said, how many family member interviews have you seen? Yeah, I know that they apparently hold them up, or this is what the story is, that they're holed up in a hangar somewhere. But, you know, how are you going to keep, if there's 220 people there, you got to figure there's 400, you know, at least 300 relatives of those 220 people at a minimum. So you're going to keep all those people from all around the world in one hangar and sequester them and never let them talk to the media? Come on.
Well, no.
Right.
You know, they're going to, I believe since, okay, here we go down my hole. I think 48 hours ago, the United States military said that they were closing their search operations along the flight path because they had AWAC recordings that this plane made a left and kept flying for 7 hours, blah, 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 pings from Boeing
What the hell are they searching
to
for?
the
They know where
satellites.
it's at.
I know, but just follow me here for just a second, okay? So anyway, they're moving their search pattern over and they're going to start 1,000 square mile grid to the west of Vietnam in the water, which covers Diego Garcia.
But nobody else look here because we got this area covered.
Right. Well, I don't know about that, but I'm just saying that's where the U.S. has moved all their ships. So now they're going to go over there and they're going to bang away with their sonars on the ocean bottom and they're going to say, hey, we found it. or something, or they're gonna find some pieces and some parts and maybe a floaty, hey, I know what they'll find. They'll find a big handful of those indestructible passports like they found on 9/11.
Jimmy, a conspiracy this large would require the cooperation of other nations.
I know that.
That
I'm
have
ready to get
spy
into that.
satellites up in the air.
That.
Oh, good.
Okay. So here's what I think's going to come of this plane. I think this plane is a chip in the game. I think this plane is going to be used to deliver something, a device of some sort. Whether it's one that goes bang or whether it's one that has bugs, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's going to wind up either on the Hawaiian Islands somewhere or on the West Coast somewhere. But it's going to be brought to the United States, and it's going to be our kickoff for whatever befalls this country, because our country is going to blame it on somebody else. They're going to say this plane was hijacked or something, taken to Pakistan and loaded with crap and then flown back over here, and they're going to blame it on Al Qaeda. Because it can't be a homegrown terrorist, right? There wasn't any Americans on that plane. One guy from somewhere, Wisconsin or something, I don't know. Him and a kid. So it's not them. It's not domestic terrorism. But I don't know. That's my postulation. If they don't claim that they found it in pieces in the Indian Ocean, Bay of Bengal.
I have an alternate theory for you.
Yeah. Let's
that,
got 15 minutes, man. So kick it.
All right. Here's what I think. And this is this holds as much water as the hypothesis that you just gave.
Okay. Mine's got a bunch of holes in it, man. So start.
Mine don't have a bunch
gum
of holes in it. Hey, mine don't have a bunch of holes in it too. So hold on. The 20 people that were on board, let's say that there really were people on board, that it was a real flight.
The 20 out of the
yes, the
semiconductor place. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I know for a fact in the first couple of days when everybody was reporting stuff,
Freedomware, I think, out of Texas,
that I'm telling you, I read it, that this company there's 5 semiconductor companies that have contracts with the United States and work with them through
Department
China.
of Defense. Yes.
And 3 of them are labeled as terrorist organizations, threats to the United States. And these 20 employees
still do business.
Worked for one of the companies that was on the ban list. I know, I'll try to dig this up, but I know in the first day that this plane disappeared, I read that and I was like, that makes sense. So here's my theory. Mm-hmm. A defection. Let's say I think the pilot was in on it.
Defection from where, man? They were working in Malaysia. They weren't. But they were Americans.
They were Chinese. No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I believe those 20 people were Chinese people that worked for that Chinese company. And yes, they may be out of Malaysia, but
the company, the semiconductor company, is based in Texas.
They have an office in Texas. I'm positive I read that this was not,
I thought it was
this was a Chinese company.
Oh, okay.
I'm positive I read that they worked for a Chinese company.
Right. I look forward to reading it.
Yeah, I'll find it, because I do remember reading it. I'll have to go back to my history to the first day of that and go back forward from there. But I mean, I know I specifically remember it. So that got me thinking of, okay, let's say defection. That these people weren't American, or maybe not even defection, but kidnapping, that America wanted them because they were working on something so big.
Yes.
So maybe not defection, but maybe kidnapping. And then if that's the case, we never would see that plane again. The plane will be Amelia Earhart's, just like Amelia Earhart.
Or that would be the reason that they would probably, either part it out or just take some scrap and throw it on the ocean floor and say, there it is, let's try to find the bodies.
That would be, a way to do it is, yes, get it out
there.
But it's
the rest
big.
of the people. If all they wanted was 20, granted, they don't really care about humans.
But
Skull and Bones is a death club. But you know what I mean? What are they going to do with the rest of the humans? Are they going to hold on to the other Chinese nationals? See, now here's the thing. When I was reading the breakdown of the people on board, I thought that the 20 were not associated with like 139 Chinese nationals. The 20 that worked for the semiconductor company were from Malaysia or somewhere in the Philippines or whatever. Right? So I'm not sure. I don't know. I want to see that story that you dug up.
I will find it. And here is why this would make sense.
Freescale is the name of the company. Freescale software.
Yeah, I see that in the room. This would make sense why you can't tell me that China doesn't know where this plane is, that China didn't say, hey, let's backtrack our spy satellite photos and let's watch the plane take off and let's watch it keep flying until we can't see it anymore. You can't tell me that somebody in China hasn't done that shit. So they know where it's at because you can't hide a 777 from satellite radar, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a global cover up with multiple governments.
Yeah, because there's 25 countries out there searching for it.
Thank you. So if China does know, because they do, because they have the same technology we do.
They watched everything that happened on that plane.
If that would be an embarrassment to China if they had 20 people defect or 20 people were kidnapped. And again, I may be way off on, on the, and I'm going to read this link here that SLC, just put in here about the theory on these employees at the semiconductor company.
And he said it's based in Texas. And
I see that.
Freescale is the company that bought Motorola's chip fab. So, yeah, go ahead and pull that article up and let's see what that says.
Yeah, I'm going to have to read that.
We got about 10 minutes. So
this was in the 17th. So the article I would have read would have been well before that.
Who are the experts on board? Aircraft navigation for high-tech weapons systems and aircraft navigation, among other things, were on board the missing Malaysian airline passenger jet. On board Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370 were employees from Freescale Semiconductor, a Texas-based technology firm. They were based in several manufacturing sites in Kuala Lumpur and Tianjin, China. 12 of the employees were from Malaysia and 8 were from China. There you go. You're right. A spokeswoman for the company confirmed. Links between the plane's mysterious disappearance and the radar blocking capabilities of some of the aeronautical software technology produced by Freescale have been pushed by citizens before its news. It's conceivable that the Malaysia Airline Flight 370 plane is cloaked, hiding with high-tech electronic software weaponry that exists and is used, according to the site. In fact, listen to this. This type of technology is precisely the expertise of Freescale that has 20 employees on board the missing flight. The anonymous author on this site makes reference to the capabilities of Israel making an attack on Iran, such an attack would include jamming the electric grid, internet, and cell phone network using devices such as the one that mimics the maintenance cell phone signal that commands the cell network to sleep. Imagine all that. Thank you, Mike, from Salt Lake City, for that.
But
drop.
That's basically what I've been saying, is that
absolutely.
These people weren't from Texas. They weren't good old boys. They were.
No, yeah, but I mean, the company is. That's what I was saying.
Regardless of where the company is, these people weren't. So they weren't American citizens, and they were somebody that America would probably like to get a hold of.
Yeah. Or it's like they postulated on Ground Zero the other night, that these people got together and decided to try this little thing out and see if it actually worked.
Nope. Because
I'm
they
just
would
saying,
just
where
pull up a dummy
would they go?
plane. Now
Well,
they'd get a dummy plane from old, test plane. They'd fill it full of employees, and then they'd try that technology on themselves. There's no way that they would try this on the world stage and do a conspiracy this deep for the media and everybody to be in on without trying it they've already tried this, I'm sure, many times. This wasn't their test run. That's why they knew it would work. You could never convince me that this is the first time that they ever tried it and didn't try it out Area 51 or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
The world's a big place. It only takes one airplane. And we know Area 51's got hundreds of airplanes out there. This is a diversion,
man. This is a diversion. It's still a diversion. It's still a distraction.
Well, it's a great one, but I'm telling you, there's no way for the other governments of the world to not know where this is because of spy satellites. So they got to be in on it.
And
they got to be in on it.
Absolutely. China knows exactly what happened on that plane.
They have 8 employees.
And I guarantee you Russia does too, because their coast is right there too. And
so how big of an embarrassment do you think that would be, if they had 8 Edward Snowdens leave at the same time? How big of an embarrassment do you think that would be?
Oh, it is.
They don't want it out. So that's why China's not going to say, hey, give us back they're not going to say it on the world stage. Give us back our people. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
This plane's going to be used in a false flag attack on this country.
It doesn't have to be, though. That's what I'm saying. If you go after the angle of these employees, that they needed the employees, dude, you will never see. They'll take a laser to that plane and disintegrate it. Just one of those high temperature things that they melted the Twin Towers with. What do you call that stuff? Phosphorus. They'll melt that plane down to nothing.
Yeah,
if it's the people that they wanted on that plane. Planes are a dime a dozen. I mean, they want to get a plane and give it to somebody. Come on, planes are a dime a dozen. They wanted something on that plane.
Yeah, what was in the belly, like I read in that report. What came off that ship and got put on that plane?
I mean, why would it be on a commercial airliner and not on some government plane?
Because it's hard to get its shit into the into mainland China.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They do covert stuff all the time. Come on, man. Come on. Go conspiracy with this. Go.
Hell, I am. I'm conspiracy as hell on it. I'm saying that the 20 people on board were the reason that it's missing. And if that's the case, you would never see that plane again. Now, if their intention was to get a plane and then fly it over the United States, 312 miles up in the air and set off an EMP, well, why couldn't they do that with any plane and change the transponders?
Planes can't fly 300 miles into the sky.
Well, that's how far it would have to be to wipe out the whole United States.
Yeah, it has to be a missile. It has to be an intercontinental ballistic missile. It has to be something that goes out of space and back into
launched from space and comes back in. So, I mean, they've already got ships and stuff that can do that are right off the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico.
That's why I think it's going to be a biological weapon.
I don't think we'll ever see that plane again. I don't think that's my thing on it. I don't think we'll ever see a trace of that plane blown up over us or blown into a building or anywhere else. I think it'll be disintegrated and,
let's hope.
Why would we see it again when planes are so readily available?
Let's hope. All we can do is wait and watch.
I mean, if it's not this one, it'll be another one. I mean, we know something like that has the possibility of coming, but they've sure got everybody theorizing pretty deep on it for sure. And they were probably sitting back going, this guy's getting pretty close or this guy's cold. And they're probably laughing at us.
Mm-hmm.
They know.
Creepy bastards.
Very creepy.
So we're down to about 60 seconds, man. What's your heads up for tomorrow?
Nothing. I think tomorrow, just the Crimea thing. That's all we can keep our eyes on.
Yep. So. Peace and love, everybody. Stay tuned. Turboville's next. Alex Allen's after that. Then some anti-media radio here on UCY. Everybody take care. We'll see you Wednesday. Thanks, Lance. Love you, brother.
You're welcome, brother.